Well, I want to get into another twist on something. I saw Alex Jones spouting off something about, if you make any statements publicly that can be construed that you're paranoid or something like that, you could be evaluated for, psychiatric reasons and all this type of stuff. And they're also using that as a method to, institute gun control. Now, this is actually real, and this is actually the angle that the shrewdest player is going to come from. Now, I want to say something else about the psychiatric profession in general. Those guys are the most narcissistic, lousy, cold-blooded, money whore pieces of shit on the face of the earth. I would feel better towards a rat walking on the ground than to one of those guys. So I just got to state that's my opinion on them. I've always seen what these jerks are about. It's one of the, I hate the medical profession in general because it's all about pharmacy and it's not about natural healing. As they said way back thousands of years in Greece, the country they wrecked today, thousands of years ago, let food be thy healing methods. Today it's all about pharmacy because that's a racket they control. Now, I'm going to even state something here right up front before I get into the political aspects of this. In the case of psychiatry, there's been a number of things out there, and actually I outlined them in some other videos. I'll provide links on them. One was there was electronic methods that very harmless. You only have to use it 20 minutes or maybe two 20-minute sessions a day. That's it. No more than that. It's it's a little thing that goes on your earlobe. It's produced by Soda Instruments. It was researched. Basically the research goes back to the Russians, the good Russians, because there's good ones and bad ones, and I'm going to get into some of that. And this all relates to the New World Order, gun control, and all this other bullshit. But first, I want to tell you, I'm going to state some reasons where most of the crap these psychologists do, they're just big bucks bullshit. And like with this electronic device, it's got a 90% plus success rate in getting people off of cocaine and heroin. It's been known since the 70s. As a matter of fact, Pete Townsend was a heroin addict and he used it in 1983 successfully. So it works. The rehab clinics hate it. You know why? And now I'm talking from a person. I never took any drugs. I never even messed around with weed. I don't drink. I'm just all into health. But of course, if I say anything that they don't like, I could be deemed crazy. So I got to watch. Really. Tell me another one, man. Dr. Mengele in the USA, all the way. There's a lot of them. Now, with this device. Now, Soda sells one of them. It's called the BT7 Biotuner. They don't make any claims on it, though. But a lot of times, it can actually eliminate the psychologist for, anxiety, depression, withdrawal symptoms from different things, different problems people have. Basically, what it does is it puts out a frequency that is the same as what the shaman priests put out and the yoga professional people that are into yoga and they know how to do it very well. They actually, what their mind does, they put out a frequency when they're trained in doing this. And what happens is, it relaxes their mind. It takes away the problems. It's an electronic device. I got one, but I don't use it much. I use it here and there, but I use it mainly. Actually, I tell people about it. That's what I really do. Now, there's another thing you can do. A lot of times, nutrition makes a big difference with the mind. All these quack piece of shit psychologists, which they are, they're quacks, they're big bucks bullshit. You can have one person go to 10 different psychologists independently and they get 10 different answers what's wrong with them. They're a pile of shit. That's all they are. I hate them. I hate them. That's why I'm being blunt as all hell with this. I know what they are. They're the scum of the earth. Like I said, a rat walking around on the ground is a better person. He's a human. A psychiatrist is a piece of scum. So, I just got to point out another thing Another way, through nutrition. As a matter of fact, in the 1920s they did this for people who had epileptic seizures and other types of mental problems. What they did was they gave them a high ketonic diet. And mainly the high ketonic diet would be consisting of, it's basically an Atkins diet with high fats. And the main high fat is coconut oil. Now coconut oil has actually been proven, I don't want to get too much off subject, but coconut oil has actually been proven to reverse Alzheimer's in some cases in 2 weeks. It's even effective with pharmaceutical Parkinson's. You know, another thing out there with Parkinson's that they'll treat with all this psychiatric drug BS, another thing that treats it very well is marijuana oil. As a matter of fact, you know, I would be of the, you know, even though I never smoke marijuana, period, I don't mess with it. You know, I almost think of that as like the, you know, I got that conservative attitude. But, you know, I realize it's really not that bad. I mean, I freaking could see. I'm not stupid. I realize it's not that hard. It's not a gateway drug. It's a pile of BS. They'd be better off giving out weed to people that had psychiatric problems to calm them down. They would be. They would be. I mean, smoking the crap would be better than what the hell they're giving to people today. They're a bunch of shit. That's all I got to say. They're garbage. They're garbage. The psychiatric profession is garbage. Now, what they're going to do in the future, and I'm going to get off on one other thing, too. There's another simple thing that actually alleviates a lot of psychiatric problems. A lot of it's all through nutrition. Just by having good nutrition, you'll feel better and your mind is better. Another one is niacin. Niacin, simple vitamin, niacin, right? 1B vitamin. That does a lot to alleviate depression. These jerks will never prescribe that because they can't freaking make money off of it. So basically they're worse than rats walking around on the ground. You know, that's the way I look at them. They're the scum of the earth. Now, I'm going to point out what they're going to do in the future. And you can look at what they did in the Soviet Union. And this goes on today under Putin. Do not mistake Putin as some kind of good guy against the New World Order. He's against the Western New World Order. He's for the Russian New World Order. That's the only difference. He's the same crap, and he's worse than all. He's just as bad as the worst of them. And this goes on even today. This is how they get political dissidents. Now, I want you to key this into what's going to happen with national health care. You get it? National health care is going to involve national psychiatry. If you don't think right, if you don't say the right things, or they deem you as a threat to the order, well, they're going to treat you, and they're going to give you drugs, and till you get re-educated. You know, as a matter of fact, during the height of you know, the Soviet Union, when it was like the Cold War was going on, most people in Russia were not actually in gulags and jails, prisons per se, prisons. They were actually in probably something worse, was these psychiatric units, re-education camps. That's exactly what they're going to do in the United States. And I want to tell you right now, you know, some of these people are into Jesus and stuff like that. You're going to be getting pissed off at what I'm going to say. But Jesus is not going to save you from this garbage, man. It's not. It's not going to do a damn thing. You think it is, but the way to get around this is don't cooperate with these shitheads. As a matter of fact, the best way, and you know, and this is my belief because I teach people different things about health, you know, in various ways, not just on the internet. And the best way is to cut off the doctors, psychologists, and other quacks right at the knees, because you can use nature to heal almost all the problems there are out there. Now, if it's a matter of them violating your free speech, what can I say? What can I say? If you're crazy, I guess you could do anything against them too, right? I mean, you're just crazy, right? You know, I'm crazy. So, sorry, Doc. You know, whatever. I mean, it could be like that too, you know. Use your imagination, right? You're nuts anyway, right? So, I mean, you can be just as vicious and conniving as them, you know. I don't know, like, I sometimes get annoyed at the religious aspect, because a lot of those people, what they do is, oh, well, it's all written in the Revelations. Oh, well, it's written in the book. Oh, Jesus is my Savior, so I'll do nothing. That's great, pal. That's great. That's great. I really appreciate that. That's really good. But what they'll do in the United States is they're going to do this through psychiatry. Once we have this national health care system, and Mitt Romney is 100% for it, believe me. It's all politics. He's a freaking Nazi Dr. Mengele in a freaking hip pocket of the New World Order all the way. Either one of those bums you vote for they're garbage. You don't have a choice. So, I don't know. As far as I know, it's a losing battle, but I'm voting third party. But the rest of the insects, they'll pick one or the other. That's the way I look at it. Now, there's another drug out there. This is another one, and I looked this one up. This was another one used on the Soviet dissidents a lot. It's called Haldol. Actually, it's called Haldol. It's a short name. And what it is, it's like Thorazine. And I think it predates Thorazine. What it is a chemical lobotomy. And just makes you into a freaking vegetable. And they'll give this to people who don't think the way they want them to think. And it just, it doesn't matter how. In other words, they don't have to go in there with a scalpel and cut a nerve to give you a true lobotomy. They could do it chemically. This is another popular thing. And they do this in Russia, but they do this in the United States too. And it was interesting. I was looking up some of the reviews on this. I don't want to get too long on it, but it seems like the average rating was 1.8. 1 is the lowest, 5 is the highest on this drug. But it seemed like there was not too many in between. Most people were rating it a 1. It was horrible. And there were some people that were rating it a 5. When I was figuring it's probably the normal people rating it a 1, and the people that are rating it a 5 were probably needed the stuff, But if they force this crap on you, they're going to screw your head up, and that's exactly what they do in the Soviet Union, and that's exactly what they're going to do in the West. So, I just got to say, you guys out there, or women, that are like fighting this bullshit, you got to be a lot more creative, and it's like, this is how it's going to play out, though. I'm going to give you exactly how it's going to play out. They're going to do this through the healthcare system, the national healthcare system, which the government owns. So, like, the elite, big money owns the government, right? That's the whole point behind everything. It's not like you're anti-government, but you remember, government's supposed to be for the people, by the people, of the people. Well, that's when it works right. When it's run by big money, that's when it works wrong, because they just want to run roughshod over everybody else. Yes, it's been like that all the time, but that ain't freaking. I don't give a shit if it's been like that all the time. It's not how I think. But as far as these lousy piece of shit snake oil psychiatrists and doctors, they can all go to hell. And I'm going to post a couple links on this to some of my videos I had about using electromedicine for healing the mind. Because I know there's people out there that got problems, And also with using the high ketonic diet. And, you can also use niacin. Make sure you take a lot of niacin if you got depression. Try it out. What does it cost you? $2? Really, these jackass psychiatrists are charging at least $150 an hour, and plus their little pile of snake oil pills. I never take any of this shit. I would never take it. Push came to shove. I'd be going full bore tilt on these jackasses, and they wouldn't survive. If somebody try to push me into this shit, they'd be dead. That's the way it would be. And they could say I'm crazy or whatever the hell it is. I don't give a shit. I won't cooperate. That's exactly the way it's got to be. And sometimes I really wonder about some of the things that happened in the past. This is maybe related to it or unrelated to it, but we used to have during the Vietnam War. I remember when Jane Fonda protested against the POWs and said they were a bunch of baby killers, and passed on to the notes what the prisoners, the American prisoners, gave to Jane Fonda, passed it on to their captors, and the Viet Cong the Vietnamese captors, the North Vietnamese captors. So they were Some of them got tortured to death, and all of them got tortured severely. It always makes me wonder why that bitch was still alive. I never can see that. I can never see that in a million years. And, one of those POWs could have said, I was crazy. And, I just lost it. And that was it. She doesn't give a shit. She's a bunch of bullshit. I don't give a shit how many times she says she made a mistake, she was younger. She's full of shit. And, I'm being bluntly honest on this thing because I'm going to tell you right now, 99% of you Christians, you don't get it. You don't get it. And, your religion is actually keeping you from being shrewd enough and fiery enough to fight back to this crap. Because, you already got this fatalistic defect in your head that it's going to come about, and it's in Revelations, and God says, and then the kingdom will come later. You know what? That ain't good enough, pal. That ain't good enough. It's going to be jerks like me that are going to freaking stop it for your ass. So, I got a major problem with a lot of Christians, too. I'll tell you the truth. But, I can tell you right now, I know exactly how this crap is being laid out. And me, on a personal basis and also on the internet, anybody's got medical problems or they got mental problems or whatever the hell it is, I tell them various things how to get rid of it and cheap ways. It doesn't work all the time, but you know what? It's not like they're getting ripped off. They're not getting ripped off by me in any fashion, and they could try it, and they could try it. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but in many cases it does work. So guess what? I guess I'm playing doctor, but who gives a shit? And I don't have any credentials, and I don't care. I'm doing it. I'm doing it anyway. So if you doctors don't like that, I got to say this to you guys. Go to hell. Go to hell. Because I think you're a pile of snake oil all the way.